Back. So, what are you drinking, sir?
Oh man, finally the day has come. I get to have this beer that I've had in my fridge for like a month at this point. Maybe not quite a month, but we put up the polls on Instagram as we do every Thursday, except for that one time when I forgot. And the people have spoken. Your vote matters, people. The polls are open. Go vote on every Thursday on the Ginger and the Beards Instagram story. If you're not following us on Instagram, definitely check us out there. But this week it was between the Tradition Brewing Ghost Pepper Lager and the Stone slash Modern Times Brewing collaboration Wizards and Gargoyles Hazy Coffee IPA. I don't have the percentages in front of me, but the Wizards and Gargoyles beat out the Ghost Pepper Lager. You know, I'm honestly surprised that the Ghost Pepper Lager has lost twice now.
I voted for it both times.
Yeah, because I figured people would just want to light me up and like watch me suffer on
Nope,
camera, but
just me.
yeah, just you. Thanks, buddy. Apparently, we have a very nice following on Instagram. I appreciate you folks. But both of them interesting selections. I've been very curious about this one ever since I picked it up. A hazy coffee IPA. I don't know that I've ever had a coffee IPA, so I'm very interested in it. I was reading about it before the show and trying to learn a little bit about it before cracking it open, which I'm going to do right now. But again, it was brewed by Stone Brewing in collaboration with Modern Times Beer. Both of them located in San Diego, California, so they're neighbors in a sense. But let's go ahead and give this a quick pour.
There it is, folks. The good old Ginger and the Beard glass beer receptacle there. A lot of head on that one.
Yeah, a lot of head. To be fair, I had this can out earlier while I was preparing for the show. It's been sitting out for a minute, so it probably has something to do with that head. But
yeah,
pretty hazy indeed. Not super hazy. It's kind of hard to tell on this camera here, but nice golden color. Very thick head, like we mentioned. Could be my fault, maybe. But instantly, the aroma, pretty strong. I mean, not pretty. I mean, it's kind of balanced. I'd say balanced between the coffee that I was expecting and also quite hoppy as well. I have to wait for that head to go down for a second before I get into it. But yeah, like I was saying, they're both in San Diego, California. Neighbors in that sense. We're all pretty familiar with Stone Brewing, but Modern Times is a brewery that I hadn't known much about, so I was looking into them. So they're an employee-owned brewery. So I'm not really sure exactly what that means, but maybe it means employees own like a share of the business. I don't know, but
yeah.
Anyways, apparently the first in California to make that claim, and they have an expanding coffee operation within the brewery. So they source and roast single origin beans. They sell them by the bag, and they also include them in their beer. And so that's what's in this beer here, and that's what's given that coffee aroma. I'll go ahead and get a sip here.
I like the idea of working and owning at the same time. I wonder how the share distribution is.
Yeah, that is interesting. I'd like to learn more about that. Okay, so off the bat, I'm going to go ahead and just say that's unique. That's very unique. Coffee, I'm familiar with coffee and beers, but usually in like porters and stouts and things of that nature. And I feel like this is kind of what I was expecting when you mix coffee and hops together. It's just like an odd flavor that my mouth just doesn't quite know what to do with. It almost has like a spice to it. I don't know if that's just because of all the hops or this very strong, bitter coffee flavor. I mean, I think on the finish, the longer I sit here, the coffee definitely presents itself a lot more forward than the hops. But that first sip I took, it was quite hoppy.
Is it very bitter or just mildly bitter?
It's not super bitter up front, but it towards the finish, it's definitely dry, which is how they explained it on the website as well. It's dry. I mean, you expect that, I guess, from a coffee, some roasted coffee beans, a bitter, kind of taste.
Right.
So it's not, I think the more I sip it and the more my taste buds kind of acclimate to what's happening, I'm enjoying it more now.
Nice.
But medium bodied, I'd say, not super full bodied. Tropical, citrusy for sure. Interestingly, this was brewed with a handful of different hops: Citra, Centennial, Cashmere, Azaka, I think is how you pronounce it. But also, there's two other hops in here that are still in development, quote unquote. They are HBC 685 and HBC 692. So I guess those hops aren't quite finished their breeding or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
So as we kind of learned about when we talked to the guys from Lion Binds, it takes a long time to get your final product because it constantly changes on you, and you have to make tweaks and things like that to make sure it comes out just right, and to make sure nothing happens, in a negative sort of way.
I wonder if the spice is coming from one of those hop strains, one of those hops breeds.
Definitely possible. They described a nutty flavor on the website. I don't really pick up on the nutty, but I don't know. I mean, like I said, it's hard to explain without like you actually tasting this. If you can get your hands on one, I'd definitely recommend you check it out.
Well, I had a beer this weekend. I had a Blue Moon, and it was like a nitro coffee lager, right?
Okay.
So like not quite what you're experiencing, but like the whole coffee and like a lighter kind of beer, which isn't normal, right? But it was good.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I think it's taking me a second to warm up to it. I would say definitely not for the faint of heart, for somebody who's, not as experimental with your tasting preferences, but
I have an experiment for you.
Okay.
Take that beer and then go make a pot of coffee and go grab another IPA and mix those together and then drink that side by side with this.
See what it tastes like.
See which one, who did it better.
Yeah. So I just finished off the can, pouring it into this glass, and I gave it a little shaky at the bottom. Nice. Swirly, and I definitely pulled out a lot more haze with that. So I'm going to give this one final sip and see if any of the lingering sort of hop flavor comes through. Yeah, I definitely feel like this sip now, with the rest of that, sediment sort of in there, it's a little bit more balanced now, and it's not as kind of coffee roasty.
Okay.
But yeah, overall I enjoy it. It's good to kind of play with different, flavors, and that's why I like to pick up these really odd, concept and collaboration beers, because it's something unique that's not going to be out year round. Actually, when I was looking on their website, they said that this is available only in California and ships only to California. So I'm not really sure how it ended up in Virginia, but it was at Wegmans, and I saw it one day and scooped it up. Actually, no, it wasn't Wegmans. It was at Total Wine. So somehow it made its way to Virginia, and I'm glad it did. Glad to check it out. So again, if you have the opportunity to check them out, make sure you do. Shout out to Stone Brewing and Modern Times Brewing out there in sunny California. Great beer, guys.
Nice. Sounds like they might need to like reel it back on the coffee a little bit and maybe focus on the normal, just regular IPA flavor with just a hint of coffee rather than it being kind of crossed,
Yeah. So. Interesting experiment, I guess. But I prefer my coffee in the darker beers. Absolutely.